back to AM Northwest. If you've been diagnosed with endometriosis or suspect you have it, you're not alone in the fight. Here to share the importance of being your own health advocate and finding a support network, we welcome the founder and executive director of Extra Pelvic Not Rare and an endometriosis patient herself, Dr. Wendy Bingham. Good to have you with us. One of your big points is that this is an invisible illness.
Yes, that's correct. It is. It's a fascinating disease that is called the Great Masquerader. It's common for people to be misdiagnosed with the condition, to have 3 to 5 misdiagnoses. It's also very common to have a delay of diagnosis, as we talked about previously. In the United States itself, up to 11.5 years. We're one of the longest delays in diagnosis, which is fascinating.
You've been suffering with it for 30 years?
Yes.
And when did you first find out that you really did have endometriosis?
My symptoms started, and they were not the typical symptoms because, as we know with endometriosis, it's very heterogeneous. It's heterogeneous is in the magnitude of your symptoms as well as where you experience symptoms.
Yeah, sure.
And that's really important because there's a lot of misinformation out there that it's purely a reproductive disease. We're really trying to campaign hard to bring awareness to that to physicians and the public. So I started having symptoms in my late teens, and it waxed and waned. And I had periods of time where I did really well. And then when I got out of PT school and I was practicing, I developed lung collapses in my early 30s and waxed and waned. And then I had one child, and then it waxed and waned. It was really severe for a while. And then I went through a period where all of a sudden it spiked and it got worse.
Why do people really need to be their own health advocate?
I think it's really important that people be their own health advocate for a couple of reasons. The first one is that there's a perception and a belief about endometriosis that has been stagnant. And this perception exists within healthcare as well as the public versus the reality of the disease that people are living with and experiencing the disease. So when we talk about the perception is it's a white woman and it's between the ages of 20 and 40 and they have periods. This is not real. The realism is that it's any age. Between the age of 70 and the age of 90, people have had active endometriosis.
Wow.
You've had endometriosis before your first period. You have endometriosis without a uterus. You have endometriosis after menopause, even with your ovaries removed. It exists in all races. It exists across all gender identities. So we have fluid, binary, non-binary. We have people who are transgender males, and it's been identified in rare cis males as well. So it is not just a cis female disease. So,
but going back to health advocate, you need to get various opinions. You need to go to various doctors to find out what's going on. And don't think it's all in your mind, because you really need to literally, as Angelica said, listen to your gut.
Yes, and agree. And when we have a support, there's a few very reputable support and education groups out there. And I know that doctors say stay away from Google, but this is actually one disease that by taking to the platform, the virtual platform, you have crowdsourced information that has come and been gathered by people who have experience with the disease. They're very well moderated groups, and we have specialists that are 100% dedicated to endometriosis, that this is what they treat. They eat, sleep, and breathe endometriosis. This is what they treat. Have come together to say, you know, we're not getting translational research done. We don't have the money driving it. We don't have the research going in the right directions. So we've established crowdsourced information that is based on evidence. And it's getting to these sites, as well as doing things for yourself that are going to help you feel better while you're on the approach to self-advocacy.
Are there support groups online for people with endo?
Yes, correct. There is definitely support groups. Nancy's Nook is very, very popular. It's grown in size. She also offers it on the website, as well as a closed Facebook group. My Facebook group as well is a little bit smaller because we focus on the less known areas of disease. That's in, atypical areas, and that is Extra Pelvic Not Rare.
Once you were diagnosed and you were getting treatment, did you feel validated? Like, finally now I know it's not in my head?
Absolutely. And you will talk to almost all people who have struggled and had a delay in diagnosis and told, it's all in your head. These symptoms that you're experiencing, whether it's chest pain, whether you have problems urinating, whether you are having bowel issues, any of these things, you're having migraines, they're not related.
Yeah.
And if you see a cycle, anything that's related to your cycle, it's, you need to be documenting these things. Ways that you're helping yourself would be, I'm going to go to a doctor appointment, bring somebody with you. I'm starting to have symptoms. I got to monitor when my symptoms are happening. Not only when they happen relative to your period, but what do they feel like? Can you describe them? Burning, aching, sharp, dull. Report all these, write it on a body diagram, and keep track. If it takes a few months to do it, sometimes you can see cycles. You can see a routine in those symptoms. Do things for yourself at home. That would be not, this doesn't work for everybody. There's no one fix for every endometriosis patient. I mean, it can come and go at any time in your life, and knowing what works for you. So whether it's changing your soaps that have a lot of perfumes in them, petroleum-based products, what you wash your clothes in, what you wash your dishes in, what you eat could be inflammatory. So dairy products, things that are like glutenated, red meat, alcohol, which is a hard one.
I'm curious, how are you doing now?
I have, because I've had such a delay in diagnosis, and I had so much fibrosis. I still have residuals from the disease. So I suffer with brain fog. I suffer with fatigue if I overexert myself. There's a lot of things that I can no longer do that I did before.
But you know what? It's so appreciated what you do for people with endo, and we're going to put all the information that we have on our website at KATU.com. They can get a hold of you and find out about support groups and all of that. Doctor, thank you so much.
Thank you.